I woke up with the fire in my soul, a vision burning bright, a goal to control. The road ahead ain't always clear, but I'm stepping forward, no room for fear. Each stair I climb, a lesson learned. From every fall, a lesson earned. The mind is a weapon, sharp and true. I'm forging ahead, there's nothing I can't do. Think and grow rich, that's the plan. With every step, I take a stand. Climbing the staircase of my dreams, fueled by the power of my schemes. Mind-focused heart on the rise. Achievement is the price I prize. Step by step I'm reaching high, tuning my mindset to touch the sky. The journey's tough, but I won't quit. I've got the drive, I've got the grit. Each level up, a new horizon, a world of possibilities in motion. I'm sharpening my thoughts, aligning my will, turning obstacles into a hills I can climb. Still the power of belief, it's on my side. With every breath I'm fortified. I'm not just dreaming, I'm in the fight, turning the night into the light. Think and grow rich, that's the plan. With every step, I take a stand. Climbing the staircase of my dreams, fueled by the power of my schemes. Mind-focused heart on the rise. Achievement is the price I prize. Step by step I'm reaching high, tuning my mindset to touch the sky.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I was just buzzing over to see if we were live on LinkedIn. We are. Good morning, Christy. So glad that you're here. I'm glad you like the intro. In fact, that reminds me, let me go ahead and turn on the banner so I can acknowledge our intro person. Let's see, here we go. There we go. And that intro and the outro, of course, are done by Soul Media Live Productions, Aaron Gibson, and we're happy to be sponsored by Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House. If you've ever wanted to write a book, this is the time to start. And so, everyone, I'm Leslie Flowers. I'm thrilled that you're here. Hello, Ashif, and hello, Christy. It's so good to be here today. Today's subject in Think and Grow Rich, Principles, Leaderships, and Laws, is about our sixth sense, our intuition. And typically this is at the end. But my experience with all of you all is that you're ready to understand about intuition and our sixth sense, which they really are the same thing. We didn't know this 100 years ago. Napoleon Hill didn't know it. But I'm Leslie Flowers, and I've spent the last 20 years teaching the principles of success, leadership, and universal laws to businesses, emerging enterprises, entrepreneurs, small business owners. The implementation of Think and Grow Rich is what has made more millionaires in the last 100 years than any other way. Good morning, Kelly Steinecke. So good to see you. And so I'm going to sing you a song from the 1950s. As you can see, pretty much most of, let's see if I can bring this so I can show you. Yeah, see, so my backdrop is 100 years ago. And I'd like to pick songs and backgrounds that our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents embraced. because by the time you're old enough to figure out you want to know what they were all about, many of them are gone. So I'm here to make sure you don't forget about your parents, your grandparents, and your great-grandparents as you're raising your own family and yourself. So there are 3 dots at the bottom of LinkedIn's broadcast. If you click on those 3 dots, you can share this from the event details. We would appreciate that. And strap on and strap in, everybody, for an amazing lesson. And oh my goodness, well, that isn't the song that I am going to sing. I sang it last week, Joshua. I can't sing it again. And I had wished you were here, but here's another one. I'm going to sing this song, and I'm so glad you're here, Josh. Hope you're doing well. So this is another song from the 50s. I could make it go back a week, Joshua. I would, just for you. But you can watch the replay, actually, if you want. They asked me how I knew my true love was true. I, of course, replied, something here inside cannot be denied. Hey, Coach Gary, good to see you. They said someday you'll find all who love are blind. Oh, when your heart's on fire, you must realize smoke gets in your eyes. So I chaffed them and I gaily laughed to think they could doubt my love. Hey, Sharon Rose. Yet today my love has flown away. I am without my love. Now laughing friends deride the tears I cannot hide. Oh, so I smile and say, when a lovely flame dies, smoke gets in your eyes. Smoke gets in your eyes. Boy, that's a tearjerker, isn't it? When you're in love. I hope you enjoyed that. That was the Platters, I believe, that sang that song in the 50s. So, hey, Linda Meyer, good to see we have a group forming here, and let's get right into it today. The 13 principles of success in Think and Grow Rich end with what I'm going to share with you today. So you might be wondering, well, why would you do that, Leslie? I know this book really well. Hi, Lisa Fevick. So glad you're here. I know the book very well. I've been teaching it for some 20,000 hours and, 65 business quarters here on LinkedIn over 1,000 times. Well, no, that's not fair. Only over 100 times, reading the wrong place. So I'm going to bring this in because I think you're ready for it. And thank you, Joshua, for sending your love, and Christy and Lisa and Coach Gary. So this is a very special lesson. And Napoleon Hill put this at the end because he was convinced that until you had mastered all the other 12 principles of success, that you wouldn't really be able to benefit as much from the sixth sense and intuition. Well, you know me, I disagree. Hello, Roland. So nice to see you. You're back. All right. I'm so glad to see you. It's been a while. So some of the things in Think and Grow Rich, which this is the #2 bestseller of all times in personal development, and it was only written 100 years ago. The #1 bestseller is the New Testament. And even that isn't the oldest book either. So one of the things that I like about Napoleon Hill, when he wrote this book, he made it very clear that he didn't know all the answers. And we have learned so much since 1937, when this book was published, about the mind. For example, at that time, he didn't know that there was a conscious and a subconscious, and he admitted it. So a lot of places, and especially what we're going to talk about today, which is the sixth sense, our intuition, how it fits in with our world, how to use it intentionally. And I had asked some questions in the comments on the event for you to begin thinking about. You know, when did you sense intuition? When did you do something that you shouldn't have done? And you could put that in the comments if you want. And you said to yourself, oh, I know I shouldn't have done that. And you did it anyway, right? Well, we now know that it's the subconscious and our beliefs, which are based on our fears, which are the strongest and most prevalent thoughts, that actually are first at bat when we get an idea. So we very often refer to the negative. And the work that I do and that all of us here are doing in personal development, leadership development, and professional development and wellness is to outweigh and outwit those negative thoughts repeatedly. And I say repeatedly because one of the things we're going to look at today, as you imagine that this is the last principle, and you've heard them all. Excuse me, this is the cherry on top. But we have a couple more weeks coming, which are even more fun. But I think that intuition and what I understand about the universe and God are one. So just consider that. And let's get into the lesson, shall we? I see everybody here, and I hope that you are ready for a fabulous weekend. Where are you calling in from? It's going to be in the high 90s in North Carolina. That's where I am. And I'm so happy that you're here. So let's take a look at what's on tap here. And one of the things I do intentionally, my friends, is repeat things that I've already shared with you before. However, you're at a different level of conscious awareness today. So am I, a higher level of awareness of our infinite potential, because we don't stay stuck in one place. We're either learning or we're slipping back, or we're learning or we're slipping back, both of which is okay. Right? Nothing is really static in one place other than our being present. So let's take a look at what we have here first. So thanks to our sponsor, let me make this a little bit different here. She said, there we go. So we are so honored to have the sponsor for Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing House. And just so you know that right now there is a launch going on. You can use the QR code to pick up book 2 of We Are More Than Our Diagnoses. And then we have one coming up later, Men, Money, and Minds and Mental Health. If you're interested in being a contributor, Roland, Ashiv, Joshua, Americo, right? This Men, Money, and Mental Health is going to be a gangbuster. And we're starting to take people who are interested in this now. Nicole Angai Galindo started this business. She's just published her 9th anthology in a couple of years. So I'm excited to be a line editor and to support her work. And you can pick up this book right now, either by an ebook or the paperback book. And so we're grateful, and also grateful to Aaron Gibson, Soul Media Live Productions, who created the intro and the outro for Think and Grow Rich. Very good friend. All right. So Americo's here. Hey, hey, high 90s. Where are you, Americo? Where are you? I don't remember. Are you on the East Coast? Let us know. All right. So here is week 9. I'm going to jump into this because I want to finish this up right at noon. And I want room for you to share intuitive hits you've gotten, their hunches, their nuzzles, their feelings about certain things. You just don't know why. We've all had this. So start thinking about that now. Your son is in North Carolina. Oh my goodness. Where is he? He can come visit me. And why didn't you come with him? Anyway, that's a little offsides. Hey, Christy. So happy that you're here. Oh, that's right. I shut these down. So let me put this back on so everybody can see what's being said. Oh, no, that's not going to work. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is go through the 7 mantras. Now, each week we articulate ourselves out loud where you are or quietly as though you wrote these. You are going to generate them as though these are things that you want to be part of you, part of your character, part of your leadership style. Now, the 7 mantras use autosuggestion, which is how we learn by repetition in spaced intervals over time. That's how we learn. And as I said earlier, because we're all growing in conscious awareness of our infinite potential every day, that what we heard 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago, when we hear it again, it will not sound the same. You will see more into it because you have grown in infinite awareness of what is possible for yourself. Hello, King Property. Oh, you're in Toronto. It's only 80. Americo says he's in Toronto and it's only 80. And where are you, King Property Dealer International Real Estate? Let us know where you're calling from. All right, so we'll look at the 7 mantras. They're vital in character development. You become these things when you do this. Then we're going to look at today's lesson, which is the 6th sense, and it's the doorway to the temple of wisdom. And I'm going to bring you into an amazing leadership and character building process that you can take home and do yourself. It was an experiment that has proven to be one of the best ways to emulate those who we respect and admire the most, the qualities, the characteristics that we would like to be known for, the things that we haven't fully developed. We're aware of them, but have we embodied them? And how do we embody them? Well, the work of the mind will look to repetition of these things over time. Good morning, Terrence. You're in Florida. Oh, it must be hot there, I'm sure. Do you know Christy D. Williams? She's in Florida too. Hello, Leanna. I'm so glad you're here in Duluth. What's the weather like up there? I heard that there were tornadoes just above you in Canada. I just wondered what's going on there with you. Roland, you're in Dubai. 106. Oh my gosh. Roland, are you wearing all white when you go outside? Right. And Ashif says, I'll just pull this in right here since we don't seem to have a big crowd today. Let's just see here. And when we allow and evolve, we discover deeper. That's right. That's exactly right. And we know this when we learned multiplication tables. We started out knowing the ones. 1 times 1 is 1. And we repeated that. Then remember the 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, right? The easy ones. And then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Remember how we learned those things? We picked out the things that were easiest for us, which is fine. So take the things that you hear here that resonate with you. You don't have to embrace them completely, but consider them and see what it does in terms of how you think. All right, I have got to have a new, oh, this is ridiculous, mouse. Okay, there we go. I want to take this off. Hi, Linda Meyer. So glad you're here. So then I'm going to take you through a process that you can use yourself, and I do it, and it's fun and it works. And we'll do a meditation, a brief one, to take everything that you've learned today and encapsulate it so that you will keep it top of mind, because we're headed into the weekend. Everybody has life going on. And then on Monday, we meet back at 11 a.m., where I host different guest teachers in Mind Over Matter Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern. And this week, we're doing our third transformational panel. So if anyone that's here has done the Landmark Forum or EST or Legacy or LifeSpring and would like to be part of that panel Monday, reach out to me via DM. So then we'll do the meditation to wrap everything up so that you keep what resonates with you for more than just a second, right? And of course, then I'll share the upcoming events. All right, so these are the 7 mantras. Now, these are the mantras that all of my clients used for 65 business quarters over 18 years. And one thing I will tell you about doing this every week and generating it as though it's your own. Now, in an emerging enterprise, I'm going to tell you this story because I think it means something here. My work that I've been teaching is the 8 essentials of performance and achievement. And it includes Think and Grow Rich, universal laws, and a lot of training that I've had over 25 years in personal development. When I went into an emerging enterprise with the same program that I use with entrepreneurs over 12 weeks, small business owners, franchise owners, big business, it doesn't matter. These principles are responsible for so many millionaires in the personal development industry. If you look at all these famous people, if you know Think and Grow Rich, you know that they were weaned on that. That's where they learned, all the greats. Why did I get involved with it? Well, it had to do with my sixth sense and my intuition. Anyway, after 1, 2, 3 12-week sessions, same content, presented uniquely by me and learned at different levels by the C levels. We started with the 2 CEOs first for 24 weeks. Then I opened it up to the C-level executives of this emerging enterprise. At the end of the year, I said, okay, we repeated this every week. And these are PhDs, COOs. I said, well, which of these do you remember and use the most? And what shocked me is they remembered the last one. So let's go ahead and generate it. Let's do it rapidly. You're home. Nobody can see you. Do this out loud and generate it as though you're in front of an audience of 10,000 raving fans, and they're hanging on every word. And you're telling them, this is what I do to develop leadership and integrity, virtues and morals and values, and to live a life that's heart-centered as much as possible. No one's perfect, right? We aspire to encapsulate these ways of being because they feel good. So the first one is, I am my word. I treat every agreement, including those with myself, as I would with an appointment with my most trusted or valuable client or colleague. This is small. This is bigger. Let me see if I can make this just a little bit bigger. Yeah. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. You need to have it bigger. There we go. I can look over here. I am proactive. I am the one to make sure my call is held, even if another person agreed to be the one to make the call. I am disciplined. I complete all tasks, no matter how small. If I miss one, I complete it within 24 hours. I am focused. I do not allow an interrupt in my plans based on my values unless there is an emergency that only I can manage. Then I reset the original plan. I am motivated. I show up hungry, eager, and present, even if I don't want to that day or I don't feel like it. I do it anyway. I am trusted. I maintain strict confidence with the private information I learn in dialogue with business connections, families, and friends. By the way, if you break it, just remake it and clean it up right then. And then this is the one that the PhDs went nuts over. I am the mirror of your greatness. I understand that the level of greatness I see in others is in exact proportion to my own. Searching for another's greatness expands my own. So what came up for you with this? Did you do this exercise? This is based on autosuggestion. We do this every week. You can do this twice a week, and it slowly immerses these conscious, intentional thoughts into the subconscious where they live like the truth. You believe in them. It's through repetition that we have faith and belief. Unfortunately, we have faith mostly in the negative. Now, faith in God, that's different. That's probably the strongest faith we always have, or we all have. Maybe it is faith in the unconditional love of our children. So there is some strong faith, but the truth is there's a lot of lack of it, which we need to learn to outweigh and circumvent. And we can do this by looking for the mirror in the greatness of others. As you find it in others, you have to have it yourself. All right, let's see what else we have here. Okay. Christy and Roland. Everybody enjoying this okay? Let me just make sure I got everything here. Oh, isn't this amazing? Okay, excellent. Now, this is the roadmap that we follow every 12 weeks. Now, as you can see, I pulled the 6 sense out. Next week, we'll do the subconscious mind. Then the epilogue is the 6 basic fears. And then we do a big recap and we start the whole thing again. So there's something here. This is linear learning. And Napoleon Hill says that until you get the 13th principle, which is what we're doing today, out of order, the 6th sense, that you don't really get the full capacity until you get all of the others, right? And so you've incorporated them. They're linear. So we began, you'll see, with 2 weeks at the beginning on the introduction, not even one of the principles. That introduction, until you get the introduction, do not move on, because the introduction is all about your definite purpose. What is your definite purpose? How do you determine what it is? We've spent a lot of time on this with goal setting, what the purpose is, because we want to come up with a goal or a purpose that our fear won't interrupt halfway down the road. And fears are strong, so the purpose has to be very strong. It has to be one purpose. It's something that you're compelled to do. You may not know why. It doesn't, other than the why is that it's going to make a difference in the world, but you sure don't know how to do it. You're going to have to step out on faith. You do not know how you're going to do it. I could say that Josh Onley didn't know how he would be on the stage with the Beatles or be friends with them when it all began. So the greatest things that we've ever done in our lives are done without knowing how. So definite purpose, we spend 2 weeks on that. Once you've got your definite purpose, then we move into desire, which is the starting point of all achievement. You begin to fall in love with it. You don't spend a whole lot of time on it, but it is top of mind, and it is your only goal. But as I said, it doesn't take a lot of work. It just has to be the one you're working on right now. And then over a period of time, I selected 12 weeks. You can pick any amount of time you want. You begin to build faith through autosuggestion, through visualizing and doing 1 or 2 tasks every week toward the goal moves you into faith. Now, faith has 3 parts to it, just so that let me just make sure that I've got, okay, there we go. Oh, we do have more people here. Okay, so let me bring this up here. Oh, hey, Nicole, I'm so glad you're here. And Leigh Scheidel is here. Let me just see here what Roland says. The 7 mantras are great steps to exchange with my audience who mostly just run quick for money and success. It's true. It's true. And it's okay to go for money. It's okay to be successful as long as you're heart-centered first, as long as you can say, this product is going to make a difference in the world, and I'm going to make some money from it. Rather than being money first, people for a second, I'm going to make a lot of money and hopefully it will help others. So yes, they are great and feel free to use them. Nicole is excited. Let's see what she has going on. As I shared with you at the beginning, she has a book launch going on right now, is doing very well. Yes, you are your word. And you'll notice from earlier lessons in the lesson on desire, the thing that Edwin Barnes said on the way to meet Thomas Edison to put him on notice that he was going to be his partner, which eventually he did, as he rode blind baggage and never met him, Edison, he repeated in his mind, I am going to go into partnership with him. I will go into partnership with him. He didn't say to himself, well, I hope he doesn't really know me. And, I'm not really dressed well. And I'm probably dirty and hungry, right? But it didn't matter. He was so compelled. And the words he used is, I am, I will. Those are intentional words, and they have a very nice high vibration. Let me see what Nicole says. I'm all these things at different levels every day. I need to get more discipline. You don't need to. You can want to. You just get better and better. You can't do them all at once either, right? So you'll notice that some, as we're listening to ourselves and others repeat these things, you will notice that 1 week, something will sound stronger to you. Another week, I've caught myself breaking my word and not going back because we're human. But it's a good reminder because you've intended that these are part of your character, things that people know about you. People will do business with you if they trust your character and that you're consistent with how you lead. Oh my goodness, it's Financial Friday. We do have to say hello to Leah Garcia. Wealthy Wednesdays, 1 p.m. live Eastern. Every Wednesday, she has a fantastic guest and talks about money and mindset and all sorts of wonderful things. But money's always included, Roland. I don't know what time it is there. Let's see. That's right. Our intentions must be what we intend to help others with. Yes, yes. It's okay to make money. I remember, Bob Proctor saying, you're allowed. Just make sure that it's heart-centered. Why are you doing it? Because I want to make a difference, because I've got something to share, because I've impressed people. I've inspired people. People's lives have changed because of what I teach. You can say the same thing. Remember that the 5th grader is an expert to the 2nd grader. So you may not think that you've been in your industry too long or enough to be an expert. But I promise you, there are people on their way to you that don't know as much as you and will come to you for the information, just as you are on the lookout for people who know more than you so that you can raise your expertise. So as long as there's somebody else that doesn't know what you know and is looking for it, it's vital. It's absolutely vital that you realize that you may be the only one they resonate with. Hey, Felipe Cofino, so fantastic. It is. It is. And I think that what I'll share with you today is a piece of it. So you will enjoy this with what you already know. And look, you all know stuff about intuition. Now, I will dispel a couple things for you to make you really think about what have we always thought intuition was, and was it that? Because the thing that Napoleon Hill pointed out is that he didn't know the answer to many of these things. And we don't know the answers either. We know more than he did 100 years ago, but there's still so much more to learn. So then we used auto-suggestion, self-suggestion each week, right? To focus on our goal, 1 or 2 tasks, continuing to live our lives, not getting ahead of ourselves, being open to people and opportunities that begin to show up, that you may still call a coincidence. And I suggest there are no coincidences, that who you're being and the direction you're moving and your amplitude of cellular vibration will attract exactly what you want to you. So this is why you don't want to set out every step in your big goal, because then you'll be focused on making sure those milestones are hit instead of the people that you actually attracted who are experts in the industry who have the answers that you would call a coincidence, but they walk right by, even though you've attracted them, consider, because you're worried about the milestone you created back at that old level of awareness. So if you were going to start a goal today, you still would only do 2 steps this week. Because as you do those 2 steps and likely have an accountability partner, someone to share with, other things are going to show up, other steps that come from a new awareness. That's why you don't set out every milestone. You leave yourself open for what's coming in, because the universe and God is guiding you all the way, which I will show you in just a moment. Thank you for that, Felipe. And then we went on and we're going to use imagination today. Imagination is the workshop of the mind. Then we went through decision, and decision is heavily based on your definite purpose. People procrastinate and have a hard time making decision because they have more than one goal. When you have one goal, if something comes up that catches your attention, if it doesn't take you toward your goal, you don't do it right now. If you have more than one goal and you're not focused in on any one of them in particular, somebody comes up with a great idea, oh, you take that on too. Typically what happens is you get nothing done, nothing much, okay? That's where a boundary must come in, is if the opportunity that shows up does not take you to your current goal, you must learn to say, no, not right now. Thank you very much. Could we talk later? Right? All right. And then we went to persistence, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. And now we're at the 6th sense. Now, I created this with my ChatGPT dude. And so you'll see here that it's the doorway to the temple of wisdom. Once you harness intuition and you realize that miracles really aren't miracles, they were until you knew how they worked. And once you realize and learn how things show up as miracles, oh, it's very playful. Make miracles, right? And that's, I think, why the church kept these lessons a secret for so many years and among the higher echelon, because you actually can manifest whatever you want. And I say without violating the rights of others. So here are all the different requirements, which are the principles of success. And today we're going to look at 4 particular advisors of Napoleon Hill. There are many that he wanted to emulate: Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Edison, of course, Henry Ford, and Andrew Carnegie. All right, so that's today. Now I'm going to tell you a little story. Okay, I'm looking at the time. Okay, so this is a story of my story of how I got into mindset. In 2006, you see all the way over on the left, The Secret came out. And I had already been involved in personal development, taken lots of classes, seminars, all sorts of things. I wasn't new at this. The Secret came out. I fell in love with it. I set up a meetup in 2007. Every month we'd meet and we discussed the practices and practitioners. I set up law of attraction fairs, etc. And I loved it. I loved talking about it. Everybody loved it because it was kind of a secret. The secret was a secret, and now the secret was out. So one day, an email came in. Now, look, in 2007, the rule was do not open emails from people you don't know, right? You remember? I mean, it's still true, but back then it was like, oh, don't you dare. And I did. Something told me, open this email. I didn't know who the person was. There were only a few lines in there, and there was a link, hot link. And then my mind says, oh, you're not supposed to click the link. But then something overrode it. And I clicked the link. And where did I end up? On Bob Proctor's site, real simple website, and got on the phone with their salespeople. And they said, oh, you're going to come to West Palm Beach and you're going to meet thousands of people from all over the world. And you're going to be certified. You'll be a coach, a consultant. You're going to work directly with Bob, blah, 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 blah. We're going to send you information and you're going to host a mastermind. And what's a mastermind and what's Think and Grow Rich? I loved it. I knew When I listened to the salesperson explaining what this work was about, I knew I was in. And then I asked, how much is it? And that's me in the middle there. So how much is it? And she said $16,000. I said, great, I'll be there. I had $500 in an Edward Jones account. It was impossible. I wanted it though so badly. I knew it was so strong that I was going to do this, and I didn't know how. And what I did was never looked at the money again because it was outrageous. I mean, if it had been $5,000, I might have said, okay, well, maybe I can cajole, right? I can find $5,000. But no, this was 16, please. Might as well have been 160,000. But there was this thing in my heart. I knew that I knew that I knew, and nothing could change it. So I went about doing the things they told me to do over the next few months, which is gather people together. They sent me the outline for Teaching, Think, and Grow Rich, which I did everything they said. And about 2 months before the training, still no money, my ex called me and said, I'm sending you a check. The company sold some stock and your share is $20,000. I promise you people, I did not know about this. We weren't talking and I had no idea. That was how strong that was. Let me just see who else is here. Sharon Rose is here. I'm just double checking with them. Yeah, so I bumped myself off. Isn't that nice? So let me just share the screen. I'll get you back up here. Now, one of the things that I wanted to share with you all while we're here, it's a little off topic, but I'm glad this happened just now. You know, thank you, Leah, for all your wonderful, wonderful comments here. I'll let them run here. Thank you. Oh, yes, fantastic. Let me see what you said here. We know so much more. Yes, it's true. So many of you know that running lives is something that you have to practice, right? And so on Mondays and Fridays, I do these lives. And what I've been doing for a few select people who have never done a live before, and I've done this over the years, and I started to do this more with potential live presenters who have a message and they're still a little shy about how to do all this. And so I have taken on several people for 5 weeks. And in 5 weeks, I'll get you up and running. I'll bring you into the studio. I'll teach you how to do everything so that when you're ready to go live, I will be in the background with you and I will remind you of everything, that you won't be worried about the technical part, because you don't want your content to be disrupted like just now. But it didn't bother me at all. I bumped myself out, brought myself back in, no high pressure, no anxiety, to the point where you can run a live on your own in just a few weeks. One of my clients a few years ago decided, she was very shy, a lot of content, but she could not get up in front of people. I spent 12 weeks with her, and she started out with notes and very nervous. And by the time she was done, well, let's just say she was a master, didn't need me anymore, is teaching others, and has done that live for 2 or 3 years now. So if you're a person who's been itching to do a live, maybe a half hour every week, you just want a little push out of the nest, just 4 or 5 weeks to know enough, right, to get out there on your own, send me a DM. So that's my story of my intuition. And here is a look into our subconscious mind. This is very important for you. And we've done this before for all of us to understand that mind is not brain, that we have a conscious mind, consider, and a subconscious mind. You'll notice there's an antenna in the conscious mind. This is how we get our information through our 5 senses. We are bombarded with 6,000 complete thoughts every day and 50,000 broken thoughts. So it's almost impossible, even with relevant information, to clearly understand what you're hearing, because you have all sorts of perceptions and filters and things going on. So even stuff that's important to you that you've sought out, you still may not understand it. It still may come in garbled. This is your conscious mind. It is the filter for all your beliefs. Through repetition, whatever you think about the most is impressed into the subconscious, which is your automatic non-thinking mind. And that the things that we think about the most, unfortunately, are negative, based on our 6 basic fears. Would you like to get up in front of people? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Would you like to go for this job? Well, no, I'm over 60. There won't be any jobs for me. Or what if I get sick? Would you like a new relationship? Well, the last one, I broke up, so I don't know whether it's such a good idea. So our 6 basic fears are well honed. We have perfect faith in them. The conscious mind, I will share with you what I've learned over the last 25 years is this is where God is. You know how we always say God is within us, yet we look up as though he's up there somewhere? No. He is always with us. When you go to bed at night with a problem, it shuts down the subconscious mind. It's sleeping too. Now, in the conscious mind, which we call the thinking mind, you have mental muscles, the things that we're growing, right? Focusing on what we want to think about the most. It's what we think about the most, how frequently we think it, and the way we feel when we think it. If we're feeling really good about it, what gets impressed into the subconscious as a belief is something good. So you can understand why reliving negative beliefs since you were 6, 7 years old, every time you do it, you bring up the same feeling. That further deepens those neural pathways that everybody's talking about now. So that when you react, it's going to be fast and negative. Our work is over on this side. The conscious mind is where you have these mental muscles. Okay, we have perception, intuition, imagination, memory, reason, and willpower, or the ability to focus. Looking at adding empathy and curiosity to this list. But these are those 6 right now. Now, and they have been this way for over 100 years. So intuition is the 6th sense. Each one of these is a spiritual warrior and grows in direct proportion to its use. So think about this. How often have you gone against your intuition? How often have you thought that intuition was over in the subconscious? Now, you don't think in the subconscious. You can't reject the subconscious. You can't even see what you believe other than through your results. So if you're not happy in the house you're in, the salary you're in, the relationship you're in, the health you're in, any of those things, you can affect a new belief in your ability and deservability through repetition. Okay? That's how we learn to believe in God. That's how we learn to be afraid. That's how we learn everything. Many people refer to 6th sense or intuition as the gut feeling. That is inaccurate as far as we know. It is not in the subconscious mind. Intuition is the whisper of the universe. It's your higher side. It's the whisper that can't get a word in edgewise because your fears are telling you this is a bad idea. You know it's God because when you go to sleep at night, these guys over on the right are sleeping. And very often you'll wake up in the morning with an answer to a question that you've been grappling with. Consider that God is within us, as we've always been told. And this is how he communicates with us, is through our intuition. So drop in the comments when you have ignored your intuition, an example, and you actually should have followed it. Or you can drop in the reverse. When you followed your intuition, when everybody said, don't do it, and it turned out great. Think about that. So I want you to see that this is where intuition is, where it influences It can influence whether you pass that thought on or not. And a simple thing you can do is do not let the news run in the background if it's negative, because this happens. These thoughts come in intentionally or not. And that's how we get a lot of negative points of view, by letting the news run in the background. Okay. All right. Now I want to tell you a story here. Let me just make sure I don't have any more comments in here. Dr. Melissa is here. Oh, I just mentioned the word empathy. I don't know if you heard me. Oh, you just missed the. Well, no, you saw the mind. So here's Dr. Melissa Robinson, and she's the one who kind of got me going. Thank you for saying that. In 5 weeks, right, Melissa? Last night was her first on her own. I sat with her in 2 lives. We had 1 hour together on Zoom, right, which was recorded so she could look at everything. Then we went live. I told her what to do. I gave her a checklist of exactly how to set up everything. And we went into the studio and I showed her how all that worked. And then I was with her for the first 2. And Wednesday night was all by herself and she did great. So there are people that will go deeper with you, right? And the other thing I do is I set up a very light call to action or a little funnel so that once you present, you've got a nice call to action for people to take a next step to work with you. Look who's here. Stanley Green is here. Hi, Stanley. I'm so happy to see you. There is no late. There's my beautiful Cherito Yamar, and Cherito is over in the Philippines praying that the hurricane or the earthquake, I can't remember which one it is, but it's devastating, that people are doing better. I think it was an earthquake. Yes, woohoo for empathy. I totally agree. Absolutely. Let me make this. So if that's what you've been thinking of doing, let's talk about it. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to take you into the lesson for today, which is something that will be using autosuggestion, building character, and using the principles of success. Now, here's the story. See these guys? So Napoleon Hill did an experiment. Remember, this was the last principle of success. His intention, his definite purpose was to emulate, to gather the characteristics, values, and qualities of the people he admired the most. And then you saw 4 of them, and there were many others. Now, there were 9 in his first mastermind. Now, here's how you do this. So you're using imagination, visualization. You've got to figure out who are these people. You can pick 4 or 5 to start with. He picked 9, which included Lincoln, Edison, Ford, Carnegie, Emerson, Napoleon, Charles Darwin, a whole bunch of. It's too bad he didn't have a woman either. He had very few women in his book, but there were some. So he did a lot of research on these people. What were the qualities that he really liked about them? So here was the experiment using imagination. As he retired, he closed his eyes that night and he pictured this. A business table with these 9 people all seated around. And let me just tell you, ChatGPT went into a rabbit hole when I tried to add facial hair and hats. It was hilarious what they sent me. Everybody had a hat and everybody had a beard. I said, forget it. We'll just go with this. Okay. So he pictured himself at the head of the table. So he was in charge of this visualization. And he had all these men sitting around at the table. And here's what he did. He addressed each one of these people and asked them to teach him these characteristics. So he said, for example, to Abraham Lincoln, he said, I want you to teach me your way of looking at justice and how you're so patient and also that very dry sense of humor. And then he went on to the next one. With Henry Ford, he said, what I want you to teach me is persistence, that you stuck with this engine, right? Even when the engineer said you can't do an 8-cylinder engine and you persisted anyway. I want you to teach me that. And then he asked Thomas Edison, who took in Barnes on faith, because Barnes did show up looking pretty rough and said, I'm going into business with you. And Edison hired him. So Edison had faith, but he also had, faith was the big one, that he had faith in Barnes, that he would actually do what he said he would do. And then he also asked Andrew Carnegie, right? I want you to teach me what were the systems and the organization methods you used to build such a phenomenal business. Now, he did this every night. And he noticed after a couple of months of this, these personalities started to show up. They actually began at Lincoln, would shuffle around and be the last one to sit down. A couple of them would banter back and forth and make jokes while the other ones grimaced. So after a while, Napoleon Hill got scared and he stopped. 6 months later, one night, and he still didn't know at the writing of this book whether this was real or not, Lincoln showed up at his bedside and said, you must come back to these meetings. You have the answer to much of the world's problems in your work. And if you don't go back and finish your work, you're going to be just like the other average folks who never really live a life they love. At that point, that night, he still didn't know whether it was real or not. He began again with these meetings, and then finally had up to 50 people. So just imagine, who are 4 or 5 people in our world that exemplify, maybe it's Gandhi, whatever it is for you, do a little research and try this for yourself. Enjoy this through this communication. And we talked with Josette a couple of weeks ago about Silva mind control. There is more that goes on with our imagination mind that we know yet. And this did help develop Napoleon Hill's character. So I invite you to do that. All right, let's see if I have any more. What do you have? Ooh, we're getting really, oh gosh, I better get going here, right? Okay, here we go. All right, that completes that piece, okay? Now, next Friday, we're going to do the subconscious mind. We're really going to get into it now. And this is where I'm going to bring in empathy, Dr. Melissa, as a potential one of the conscious spiritual guardians of our conscious mind in filtering information, right? I think it belongs, and it'll be fun to look at anyway. Then we'll do a leadership development review, okay? So next weekend, the last couple of weeks are going to be really juicy inside the mind. You're going to understand the difference between brain and mind. While so much of what you see on the internet and what you get off of AI collapses them together, it's because AI is only as smart as our average smartness, which ain't too smart. It's only what we've fed it. And it hasn't learned about mind and brain yet. So it's telling everybody that they're the same. And of course, we know it's not. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, and next Saturday, we're going to do amazing book study with the 2350 Network. If you've been thinking about becoming a member at 10 a.m., Your Invisible Power, this woman, Genevieve Behrend, was Thomas Troward's only student. This was turn of the century, 1900s, as even 20th century. And I think it was in 1927 she wrote this book. It's a very small book, but it's the experiment that manifests through visualization. You will love it. Next Monday, we are going to do the third transformational panel on Mind Over Matter Mondays. If you have done Legacy or Landmark Education or EST or LifeSpring and would like to be on this panel, this is transformational technology. Okay. Oops, this isn't what I wanted. Hold on a second. Let me take this off. Oh, yes, I had the visual here. Give me 1 second because we're going to do a meditation. And we've got about a minute left, so this will be good. But when I blew myself off, I also blew off the video that I wanted to play. Here it is. Right here. Okay. So now the purpose of this meditation. Okay, here we go. Yes. Isn't this pretty? Look at this. I can actually make it bigger, I think. Yeah. So sit back for just a minute and relax yourself, okay? All right, here we go. Close your eyes and take a slow, deep, steady breath in. And let it fall gently out through your mouth. Now you can do this while you're looking at the visual or just listening. Allow your mind to soften, your shoulders to release, and your awareness to turn inward. Now imagine yourself standing in a quiet, golden space, a place where intuition, imagination, and your sixth sense are fully awake. Here, intention becomes energy. And energy becomes identity. Before you, 4 figures begin to take shape. Reminders of the qualities you've learned to harness. See Abraham Lincoln calm and steady, radiating justice, humor, and patience. Feel those qualities drift toward you like warm light, entering your mind, your heart, and your character. Next, Thomas Edison, the embodiment of unwavering faith. Feel his certainty, his inner knowing, his refusal to doubt the vision he carried. Let that faith settle into your own intuition. Now, Henry Ford standing firm in his legendary persistence, feeling the vibration of keeping going, the energy that bends reality over time. Let that persistence anchor itself. Oh, goodness. Let that persistence anchor itself in your spine. And finally, Andrew Carnegie, master of organized effort, the power of bringing people and ideas together for a shared purpose. Feel that clarity of coordination, that ability to move others with integrity and intention. Now take a breath. Let these 4 qualities swirl together inside you. Justice, faith, persistence, organized effort, forming a powerful blueprint. Now, before retiring tonight, imagine yourself sitting with 4 people of your own choosing. Individuals who exemplify the values, integrity, and character you want to be known for in your business and personal life. See them clearly. Feel their presence. Let their qualities imprint on you through your intuition, your sixth sense, your intention. Now take one final breath in. Absorb the identity you are choosing, and as you exhale through your mouth, feel yourself becoming the person whose values speak before you ever say a word. Open your eyes when you're ready, carrying the qualities you intend to embody. And with that, my friends, we're a couple of minutes over. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you do this experiment. Who are those 4 people, and what are their qualities? Start there. Feel free to read the 7 mantras and generate them. couple of times a week. I'm going to play the outro. See you this week on LinkedIn and YouTube. Have a marvelous week. Much love to all of you.
I woke up with fire in my soul, a vision burning bright, a goal to control. The road ahead ain't always clear, but I'm stepping forward, no room for fear. Each stair I climb, a lesson learned. From every fall, a lesson earned. The mind is a weapon, sharp and true. I'm forging ahead, there's nothing I can't do. Think and grow rich, that's the plan. With every step, I take a stand. Climbing the staircase of my dreams, fueled by the power of my schemes. Mind-focused heart on the rise. Achievement is the price I prize. Step by step I'm reaching high, tuning my mindset to touch the sky. The journey's tough, but I won't quit. I've got the drive, I've got the grit. Each level up, a new horizon, a world of possibilities in motion. I'm sharpening my thoughts, aligning my will, turning obstacles into hills I can climb. Still the power of belief, it's on my side. With every breath I'm fortified, I'm not just dreaming, I'm in the fight.